Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was just had a drink before I was recording. Sorry for the awkward pause there. Dr. Allen here. Hope all is going on well with everyone. Hope you're surviving the heat. It's been a warm couple of weeks. Um, I'm just going to jump right in. By the way, I will give the shout out. I think I sent an email out, but everyone's been doing an awesome job. I'm recording this on Friday, the 14th. But I've been going through all week one should be graded from everyone. But just in case, let me know if you have something that you submitted that was not graded. And I should be getting week 2 out to you on Monday or Tuesday. I try to get everything graded pretty quick. I know the blogs went out a little late compared to everything else. I was kind of reading on those and I did send an email out. I don't usually comment too much on the blogs because I don't want you all to feel pressured or something that where I'm trying to force my point of view of a tech or something on you. And plus, the feedback actually helps me out as far as what techs work and such. I was glad to see that most people survive the website. I think that's the trickiest one, usually, just because there's a lot of intuitiveness and it's kind of clunky. But the websites and all were great and everything's been good. So with that being said, even though we are still in week 2 when I'm recording this, I'm going to go ahead and talk about week 3. And I'm going to take a drink again. Sorry, I'm sitting here wanting to cough and I'm not going to do it. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at what's due this week. There are a few texts that are due. I don't think they're complicated texts, though. So I think most of them you can cruise through. And then I also want to talk about the research paper. So with that being said, I'm just flying through everything here. All right. This week, we're going to look really quickly at some classroom management tech. I do not have an assignment for those because by and large, those are associated with your schools, but I do want you to be familiar with them. We're going to look at Kahoot. There's Gimkit, Quizzes, and Socratic and Poll Anywhere. Those are all pretty cool things. But most of you are probably going to be familiar with Kahoot, so that's the one I'm going to focus on today. We're also going to look, I have Wakelet or Portfolio. That's Wakelet or Padlet. You might be more familiar with Padlet of the two. Both are pretty beneficial. I'm going to show you those. Canva is a cool flyer infograph maker. I want to show you that. I decided not to get too, in a normal semester, I spend a little more time on this, but I do want to just give a quick shout out to Flipped Learning and some aspects of how you can use Zoom if you want to film or something like that. As you can see, that's what I do right here. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump in so I can show you some things. One, I mentioned classroom management tech. I'm just going to pull it up here just so you know the name. Again, this is one of those things where schools usually have accounts and they'll let you use them. So I just want you to be familiar with it. I don't have access to these. There's also a lot of planners. I didn't put it on here. There's something called planbook.com. That's a really nice one if you want to do some e-planning. But most people at this point usually use Schoology if you're in Berkeley County or Google or things of that nature. But probably the most famous of the classroom management techs is something called ClassDojo. I see this more in elementary than I see it in secondary, so I am not going to pretend that I'm the most familiar with this because I would not have used this. I taught secondary, but it's one where it's kind of like students get an emoji or some sort of avatar and they are able to, it's not like a chart type thing, and you're monitored throughout the day. You might want to, I'll put a YouTube video up if you want to check this out, but ClassDojo is one that you might see, and I just want to give it a shout out so you've heard the name. Secondary, the one I've seen the most, but I saw it just got bought out, is something called Classcraft. It's kind of like more for middle school than high school, I would say, but it's kind of like ClassDojo where there's an avatar given to a student. This one's a little more hardcore, doing like a flex there. They don't have a real great screenshots here, and you can check out the video, but they get like War of Warcraft styled avatars. And, as you go through the day, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you defeat enemies and things like that. And you can monitor it. So there's like an avatar there, and you get points and you earn things and you get powers and things like that. As you can see, by and large, it's mostly in middle schools. I'm not going to get bogged down on this, but I just want you to be aware that these are things you may see. And I mentioned them, And again, this is another thing where we don't have access to that right now because during the pandemic, they started to charge for memberships. But if you were in Berkeley County, or I know some of you are already working in Berkeley County, but if you wanted to get into Schoology, when you get hired, there is a sandbox that I know they have where you can practice. And they usually, I think they make new hires go through it and just kind of get familiar with it. But Schoology is the learning management system they use. It has a lot of the planning setups and things like that. So e-planning is something that I have a feeling you're probably going to do more than handwritten. I don't have my plan book. Oh, I have one here. But instead of doing like an actual planner, a lot of people now do the e-planning, obviously. So it's there. Again, as I mentioned with Nearpod, if you do something in Schoology, though, make sure you have copies of what you're doing, or at least you have access to it in case you leave the county. I actually still have a Schoology account because it used to be you could sign up for free, and we used to do some stuff in this class. It's not free anymore. When the pandemic happened, they kind of upped the prices or didn't want to give anything for free because everyone wanted stuff, FE type things. I'll show you another one. I actually finally let my subscription go out, but it was called planbook.com. I think it was planbook.com. I really like this. Now I'm really going to test myself here. Don't hold this to me. I haven't signed in a little bit. Let's see if I can do it. Might type that too fast. Oh, it's still okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I know I let my subscription go. I'm not planning as much there. So just to kind of give you a heads up though, there are some older ones there where it actually, can I pull that up? Whoops. Oh, let's go back. This has gotten a little more detailed. But if we could look at that, that would be great. Let's see. No, that's not it. Of course, I'm probably should have pulled this up for. This is one of these things where I thought about after I clicked everything. Let's go back. Let's do this. Boom. That's Shepherd. I did a little bit of this one, Shepherd. Can I do that? There we go. Let's go back to an old one. Oh, as you can see, I don't really have great access. It's blurred because my subscription's run. But it has like the standards that are aligned. You can post things up. I had attachments in there for my grades. I was teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th grade social studies that year, so I had a little bit of everything. I was fiddling with some language arts just to see some alignment, but there was Animal Farm. But I could put in my terms, my questions, attachments. I like this, and I know as you get through your Shepherd studies, or if you're almost through your Shepherd studies, we make you do very detailed lesson plans. That obviously in the real world, I'm going to tread softly how I say this. You may not do as detailed as what we require you to do. The reason we do it is you need to know all of those basic aspects to it, and they should be reflective in your planning. I tried to do detailed planning because I think it just shows organization and a structure, but I also like to have everything in one spot. So if I could pull it up, I had it. I had all my tests, quizzes, study guides all there for me. So I didn't have to go through my desk. I was trying to get rid of paper. Long story short, this is called planbook.com. I liked it when I was using it. So it's just another thing I wanted to give a shout out. To me, this is part of classroom management, just having organization, because if you organize, it helps so much more with management. Nothing to do with any of this. I just wanted to give it the shout out because it's on the syllabus. The other thing I wanted to give a little shout out to, and it is on the syllabus also, is I took this off for the summer because I just feel like everything's so compact. Everything's compacted in the summer, and you've already done a Flipgrid. You've kind of done some editing a little bit with an Edpuzzle, but just be aware. When I have it titled as flipped instruction, but if you ever need to record something, Zoom actually does allow you to record. This is what I do here. I have my face up there. I just hit the record button. I can share screens. There are a lot of different ways you can do recording. Gosh, I should pull it up. Let me see if I have it. Whether that's smart. Probably not. Let me look. I think Microsoft has Stream. That's another one that's very popular. And I know some people in Berkeley County use that, I thought. But you have access to that in your Shepherd account. And the reason I'm just giving you a little bit, Stream's still in there. Oh, maybe we lost it. I heard we were getting ready to get rid of it. I actually heard that yesterday. So let me just see. But there are other ones. I mean, I like Zoom the best anyway, because it's just the easiest one to use. It does look like they took it off of our thing. Let me look. Up there it is stream. It has like short, you can record like shorter snippets, like 10-15 minutes, like I say I'm going to do, and I end up talking longer. You can do this, and as you can see, there's different ones you can do on there and shoot and record. The reason I'm babbling about this is just because when you do your EdTPA, you do have to film yourself teaching. And I just want you to be familiar with and know that we have something called a swivel that you can use that records you. Whoops, I misspelled how they do that. Swivel. Just to kind of show it to you. Oh, there it is. It's like a little robot, and you can put your phone or your iPad on it, and it moves around. It can do 360. The reason I was just going to make a suggestion. If you go into Zoom and record yourself, granted, you probably can't do that when you're doing your EdTPA, but you can edit the film. And that's something I wanted to get used to. That's why I wanted you to do 3 minutes instead of like 5 minutes and things like that with Edpuzzle. You got to get used to editing your clips. So whatever you can do, please make sure you maybe practice filming yourself at some point and editing, and get used to hearing yourself on video. I hate the way I sound when I record, but I've done it so much now, I don't even pay attention to it. It's just the way I sound, and I'm used to doing it, and I can kind of take things warts and all. But please get familiar with editing. And if you ever want to try out the swivels, just let me know. We usually do let people give them a run through before they do EdTPA if they want. You can check them out for a week. I'm pointing out in the hallway. We have about, I think, 15 of them. By and large, the only time that they're ever all out is when before EdTPA projects are due or capstones are due. But if you ever want to give one a run, please let me know, and you can practice getting it. I'm going to hold my phone up. It records on your phone, but you can download the Swivel app so it doesn't take up so much space. And you can practice editing clips and things like that. I would strongly suggest doing it. Being an online class is a little tough for us to do, especially in the summer. But again, I just wanted to give that shout out. That was the shout outs on the syllabus: organization, classroom management, and Swivel. Also, just to go down here, I know it says it's due on the 23rd. Is your research paper. I would love for you to have your research papers due on the 23rd. I also know there's a lot of stuff that's due in a very short amount of time because you still have a discussion board, you have a blog, and things like that. I'm going to say that the papers are due on the 23rd, but I'm going to set up Brightspace to accept them until the 30th. So they're due on the 23rd. I'll take them until the 30th. No penalty, in case you're wondering. But it would be great if you could just get them done. And just to kind of go over the research assignment, don't overthink this, please. I know I have 2 things up here. I would not even worry about the second part, unless you think you're going to do a doctorate or something like that. But you just need to pick a research topic related to ed tech. I don't really care what the topic is. Let me rephrase that. I'm not picky about the topics. So if you want to do something about a specific tech, awesome. If you want to do something about maybe how tech affects classroom learning, awesome. If you want to look at, I have to admit, a lot of people have done this, but the effects of the pandemic and online learning versus not, you definitely can do it. You just need to make sure you have good numbers and things like that, because as we're getting farther away from the online instruction, there's more and more stuff that's out there. So make sure you have that on there. It does need to be an APA format. APA, I put that up via OWL if you need a little familiarity with APA. Purdue OWL is a great example. Of course, EasyBib and things like that. I'm not opposed to that. If you use that, just sets your things up for APA. I did put a list of potential topics. It's a link to an article. It's just to give you some ideas. Online instruction, how you can do a professional development, and what type of professional developments. I've helped with some teacher professional developments, and if they're not online, people don't want to attend them anymore. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Does it help professional development? I don't know. I have an opinion. I won't tell you what it is, but because that's not why I'm here. Well, it is why I'm here, but I don't want to sway your papers. Because believe me, I'm not always right. And there's a whole bunch, and I'll try to throw up some more potential topics if you want. But the paper is due on the 23rd, but I will take them up until the 30th. I can't take them past the 30th though, because I do need a little bit of time to get them graded. If you do need that extra bit. I think that is it as far as just nuts and bolts. I know that was a little bit of a long nuts and bolts session, but I just wanted to make sure to give the shout outs. This week, let's go ahead and click that. There are a few things that are due. I know I have Zoom recording, but don't worry about that. All right, we have a discussion. Again, that's Tech Like a Pirate. There's some stuff in there. They talk about some resources. Check it out. This one actually gives you a choice. You can either, it's app, you can explain how you would use an app that's mentioned in the DigStat textbook, Tech Like a Pirate discussion, or you can actually use the app and just attach a screenshot of what you did with it in the discussion board. It's your choice. I'm good either way, and I put some links up there. If you want to look at some presentation tools, there are some there. But what we're going to do is one, we're going to look at formative assessment tools. We're going to look at a portfolio tool, and we're going to look at, and do I have it on here? I don't think I do, but that's okay, because I'll just show it to you later. I'll make sure it's up before I post this. And you're going to do something on Canva. Oh, you know what? Sorry. I can't help myself. There's one more I threw on here, and I didn't have an assignment with it. You may want to take a look at Kami also. This is a pretty cool tech. I know they were really pushing it in Jefferson County at one point. I can't pretend that I know if they have been recently, but Kami is something where you can upload documents. Hope I used my Google account when I created that. Yeah, that's fine. Go for it. Allow. It's one of those things where you can actually upload like a PDF and you can make marks on it. So when you project it, you can actually go for different things. And they also have notebook styles and things like that. Just wanted to throw that out there. So like, for example, and sorry, I did not make an example, and I should have, but since I had the link, I didn't want to forget it. If I put something up like a map of World War I, I can make comments and write and like upload it into Kami and write on it. And they also have templates where you can do things like, the writing process. I'm assuming that's the writing process. Yep. And then things like that. So you can check it out. And this actually is a nice segue, because I'll just jump into this. One thing you do have to do this week, get out of Kami, is you have to make something in Canva. Some people are already familiar with Canva because I know people use it that aren't just teachers. But Canva is basically a site where you can make a lot of templates. You can make flyers. You can make infographics. I have actually been using it. There used to be an old one. I hope I'm saying it right. It was called Easily. I just took it off because there's just no comparison. Canva is just so much easier to use than Easily. But I used to have my students make infographics, and there's one there. But let's just click that one up. If you look there, just students will make that. I would even make them sometimes and use them in my presentations. This is one on 4 tips for global warming. But what you have to do for Canva, let me do this. I'm going to log out. Canva, you just go to canva.com. As you can see, it's got all this cool stuff that's up there. All you have to do, everyone has a Google login. I'm going to continue and just log in as Jason with Google. And you can see there's a whole bunch of templates, flyers, presentations, Instagram posts, all types of cool stuff that pops up. Now, before I say this, as I say this with everything like this, there's a free version and there's a version that you can pay for. I'm not asking you to do the paid for version. So I'm not expecting you, if your template is very base level stuff, that's fine. It'll have a little bit of bells and whistles. Some schools actually have accounts that they give people. Again, if you're teaching and if you have one, that's fine. What I want you to do with Canva is one or two things. And the parameters of this are, I'm just going to kind of make them broad because I just want to see if you can use it. I want you to pick one of these things. It can be an infographic, it can be a flyer, it can be whatever. It can be a timeline. As you can see, I've made some timelines. My son and I actually but I actually did give him a little bit of advice. He used this a little bit for when he did a national history project. And he made things on different people. We went to the Tower of London last year and he enjoyed that. But he had made some things and we made a little infographic. We made timelines and things like that. I could kid you that didn't have some with this, but I would be lying. So, and there's some things. All right. With that being said, what do I want you to do? I just want you to make something in Canva. It can be a flyer, it can be a timeline, it can be an infographic. And you might say, okay, that's great. What do I have to do? Well, let's do this. If you go up here, you can look up. There's all types of things. There's templates. You can change the colors. It's a little slow. There's educational templates. Let's click that. By the way, you don't have to just go to the educational, but as you can see, there's parent-teacher conference sign-ins, all this. And if you have a regular account, you can utilize a lot of this. What I want you all to do, though, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Let's go back to home. Just want you to pick something. I don't care what. And we're going to pick summer camp. I was looking at that a little bit earlier. And I want you to make a flyer of maybe an event that's happening at school or that you're going to be doing in class. I want you to, or you can do a timeline, or you can do an infographic about some presentation or facts. So if you're teaching social studies, maybe you'll have facts about World War I. But all you have to do, it's pretty simple. You just click and you might say, I don't know, middle school. As you can see, it's awfully big. So I want to make that a little smaller. We'll do that. Let's see if we can do that. Boom. You're just gonna have to play with it a little bit and then, change the dates. And please don't just use a template that's already, let me rephrase that. Don't leave the information that's already on the template and submit that. I think I can actually look and see if there's been edits or anything like that, but we'll say December 14th, 2023. And you just literally can just click over this. You don't have to keep everything on there. You can take some things off. Like I might just keep that off. Who cares what age they're coming to play? We want everyone to come. So I'll just take that off. And as you do all that, it's all cute, it's all fine. And you can edit it. It doesn't have to be something that's actually happening. I just want you to make something in Canva. Now, once you do that, you're gonna have to share it. You have a couple ways you can do it. You can, one, if you're gonna share the link, make sure you have change it to anyone can do it with a link. You can submit the link on Brightspace. That's fine. Or you can download it, and you can download it in any of these formats. I mean, I have to admit, I'm usually a PDFer only because I think it's usually the easiest thing to open. But JPG or I think it's JPEG or whatever, it's usually fine. And any of these I should be able to open. So you're welcome to share it. But I just need a flyer. I need an infographic, anything like that. You can see hiring. You could do something like if it could be play. You go to infographics. I'm a sucker for it. I like infographics a lot. Visual learner. I'll put information in that. Oops. There you go. You can do that. Points business. And you can see, you could just edit 3 points. Maybe you could do something like 3 points or the writing process or 3 points of classroom rules, like be respectful, raise your hand. Where's the sign out sheet? The restroom. That's all fine. But join Canva, pick a template, pick one that you have access to, mold it to something that you would do in class. Go from there. That's the first thing you need to do. Second thing, we got Canva. Go back to week 3. The next one assignment that you have to do. I'm going to do formative assessment first because it's Kahoot. And let me say this: I'm going to show you Kahoot, but you are welcome to use Quiz. You can use. I have BrainPop on there, but BrainPop's been kind of getting dated. So you can check it out, but I don't think you should do that one. And actually, I heard it was kind of getting weird with enrollment and stuff like that. Gimkit, I know, is very popular, and some people prefer Gimkit over Kahoot. There's a whole bunch of these things now that are the kind of anti-Kahoots. I use Kahoot a lot. That's what I'm familiar with. So I would like you to complete one of those 3 things. I would say boom, boom, boom. And let me click this out because Padlet's on there. So Boom, boom, boom. And Socratic is another, isn't Socratic is spitting that out tongue tied. But long story short, this is like Kahoot without the bells and whistles. Like it's not the competitive version. You can also do Quizlet live, which is also something that I would be fine with. They all kind of do the same thing, but they're formative assessments. You can get instant informational checks on students if they're understanding something. Just to kind of pull mine up. I think I have it on there. That's pretty cool. There we go. Oh, before we do this, when you go to Kahoot, again, you can log in with Google. Kahoot also will match up with the Google Classroom if you want it. If you sign into Kahoot, I left this up on purpose because sometimes it likes to throw this out at you. And I have people that'll like go, oh, don't freak out. They'll say, well, it's asking me to pay $5.99 or it's asking me to pay $14.99 to join. It's not. They would love for you to upgrade, but all you have to do, see that down there, continue with basic, click it, and it just takes you to Kahoot. Like I only have a basic Kahoot. I don't have all the superstar stuff. And as you can see, I've done different Kahoots for years. I used it a lot, West Virginia history when we were doing History Bowl and Golden Horseshoe and things like that. And Kahoot also has some pre-made Kahoots, but a few things with this, because I've seen student teachers do this. One, Kahoot has a lot of stuff that people have made. Like I've made Kahoots, students make Kahoots. Please check the Kahoots and that the information is accurate. Because I've had students before that find Kahoots and they're trying to review for something, and some of the information is wrong. Like they have the wrong things marked as the correct answer. So please, if you're using it in class, make sure that you double check it. Also, word to the wise, I'm 5 years removed from the classroom now, so I don't want to pretend like I have my finger on the pulse sometimes. But when I did Kahoots, or I'm assuming even with Gimkits or anything like that, make sure you have a set of rules to keep the game organized. Because Kahoots can get very competitive and sometimes be a distraction. Because I've had a few, again, I'm not picking on, I won't mention names, but I've had some student teachers who have done Kahoots at the end of the class that kind of review things. And I think it's a good idea, but they don't have a structured sense of what, they don't have their expectations for what students need to be getting out of it. So sometimes it has devolved into chaos and is loud. I'm all for having fun, don't get me wrong, but make sure you just have rules. I told my students the first time I did Kahoot, the very first time, it got really competitive, got really loud. And of course, when you don't want your principal to walk through, he would walk through. Luckily, he kind of was into it, so I kind of dodged that bullet, so to speak. But I learned from that experience that, you know what, I need to have some expectations of my students before I just turn on a Kahoot. What I told mine, one, if they're doing anything, if we're cheering, there was none of that, whoa, and all the talking after each question, because you got to get through the content. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be a learning tool. I told mine they could cheer, but they always had to cheer silently, like they couldn't make noise when they did it. Because I would just cut the Kahoot off if I had I usually did 2 warnings and then it was out. I think I only had to do it one time though. But you can tell, just word to the wise. Now, with that being said, Kahoot's pretty cool. It's got a lot of stuff. If you want to make a Kahoot, you have to make a 10-question Kahoot on a topic of your choice as far as content. You can see there's contents. You can create one from scratch. I'm just going to do that. And you just type your question in. So, who were the Central Powers? World War I. Sorry, I was reading the book, and this is related to this time period, so I'm getting a lot of that. How about this? I don't like that because you can mark more than one, but I'm going to do this. Who of the following who was not a member? And the one bad thing about Kahoot, sometimes I think it does give more points for speed, and I think sometimes students just roll through it a little quick. But you could put, Germany. You could put all the United States. You could put the Ottoman Empire. And just quick. Then you click there and you can say that Austrian, Hungary, and which one was not. Well, obviously it's the United States. You click that. I'm not requiring you to do this, but you can also do things like this. You can, if you see that star there, you have to have a souped up account if you want to put an image in, but you can put in GIFs for some reason, or GIFs, whatever you prefer. I usually did, but just for fun. World War One. You can just click that. And you can, there's your timelines, your quiz. You can do whatever you want. There's true, false, there's puzzle. I'm fine with all quiz questions. That's usually what I use. You can see you can select. I don't have multi-select, so that's why I rephrased that question. And there's the save button. Now, you don't have to save after each one. Of course, with being summer and power out, you might want to, but that's the first question. Then you just click here, you just add another question. So what type of question do you want? I'll just do quiz again. And we'll do something like this. What's oh, what year did the US serve? What? 17? 18? 14? And 2023, I believe it's 17. That's a little late. I think it's 17. Actually, I'm positive it's 17. I'll say that. But then you can do, let's do 19 to 17. See if anything pops up. Oh, there you go. There's some, there's, yeah, it's from that. There you go. Something. And then all you have to do, I like the short question, the shorter seconds better, but again, I'm not being picky about that. You can add more answers, but let's just save that. You can also preview it. You can pick themes and things like that. Let's just save it. World War One. Continue. Done. You see, all you have to do is hit share. And you can copy the email address and you can just send that to me. If you want, you can also just take screenshots. I know some people have had problems with the copy and paste. If you take screenshots of what you've made, that's fine. That's the Kahoot. You have to do 10 questions. 10. I'm only 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have to be there. So that's the Kahoot that you have to do this week. Next thing. Padlet, Wakelet. You get a choice. Get some of this trash out of there. I like both of these tools. I use both of these tools. I will be the first to tell you that I think Wakelet is more of a teacher's tool than something you can do with students. But that being said, you can definitely use it to have students gather information. I've had students maybe go in and do stuff with the writing process and all with it. I don't know why everything's not showing up, but that's okay. Usually there's images. But what Wakelet is, again, you can sign in with Google. But let me show you how to get there. Just go to Wakelet and click it. And just click it, wakelet.com. As you can see, I'm already in because I logged in. But I use this a good bit, and it's just an information gathering thing. So let me just show you. When I was prepping for this class a little while ago, not this semester, but another semester, I made a folder that was called Education Tech. And I put a bunch of articles, things that I was reading in here, just so I had, it's like one-stop shop. I'm like one of those people where I'm kind of organized. But sometimes I keep things when I was before the internet, I used to have piles everywhere, but I knew they were my piles. So I knew that what I wanted was in there. I kind of view Wakelet kind of like that, where I find links to things that I want to keep and read, but maybe I don't have the time or I might come back to them. I have folders on here where I can just go back and I can dump them in here. Now you may say, that's great. How do I do that? No, it's pretty simple actually. You just hit create collection. Some of these, by the way, are old, as you can see, actually. Delete them. Put these up later. You hit create collection. I'm just going to say summer. You can add a description if you want. Let me double check one thing. I told you I wanted to do this. I want 5 items in this Wakelet. And here's what you do. I've made my folder. Now, as you can look here, there is one that has, you can type in text. You can add images. You can do PDFs, or you can do links. I want you to think of something that you want to teach. It could be something related to the Kahoot. Since I was doing World War I, let's say I want to do a Wakelet with 5 different things in it. World War. And we'll just do tried and true Wikipedia. Copy. Go back into my Wakelet. Paste the address. And go there. Like I say, by and large, I think this is more of a teacher's tool where you can go in there and do this. Now, with that said, and I can post it up if I remember to look for it. I read an article about how some teachers were having students do this. And sometimes when students were doing group assignments, they would just assign a Wakelet to them. And that as they were researching this, the teacher could go in and look at the stuff that they were using as resources and such. I've seen people use the writing process where, they've submitted and put PDFs of their rough drafts in and almost just used it as like a Google Drive portfolio. I like this, and I'm not saying Google Drive isn't, I guess in some ways it's because it's connected to Google Classroom, it might be easier. You can now, I think, use this again into Google Classroom, but I just always have liked this because it's just simple to use. I don't think there's anything complicated about it. I don't remember, once you name your file, you can put some information underneath each of your text if you want. I'm not looking for you to, you don't have to. But one. I mean, it's nice if you need it for notes, but that's up to you. But I just want 5 things that you are using in there. And like I say, I think it's just more of an information gathering type tool, but I still think it's beneficial. So that's Wakelet. You can use Wakelet or you can use this. I think this is probably the one more people use in classrooms, because I know some people use it as almost like chat boards for students. But it's Padlet. Padlet has a lot of different things where you can make timelines, you can make portfolios, you can do organizational charts, you can do, as I say, photo albums, they're hiring if you need a job, all of those type of things. So same thing, log in using Google. As you can see, I have a few. Most of these are just test ones that I've done. Actually, I'm going to delete that one. Again, free account. It only lets you do 5 free, but you only need to do 1. So that's no big deal. But you can join a Padlet. What the joining is I could actually send this link to you and comment on sometimes if you give me access to it. This is one I think I made on the National Standards for Social Studies, and I put it on there. This was when we were in the pandemic, so I had people commenting and they were throwing different things up there. I can allow people, and you can see you can transfer, change colors and all that. That's all nice. What I want you to do, get out of this, you're going to make a Padlet. So you can see there's different things you can use. Again, as with a lot of this in this class, some of this is you're going to have to fiddle around with it a little bit, or I'll have YouTube videos up that if you want to check out some stuff in a little more detail. But you're just going to pick one of these. There's the canvas. That's like a roadway. Very infographic. Timeline. There's a grid. I think the grid is very popular. As a social studies, the wall is very popular. Timeline is something I've always liked. I'm going to use that one. It's in my nature. I'm not going to call it my fearless pad, but I'm going to do World War I. And as you can see, you can pick different wallpaper. The wood's just in my jam for World War I. We'll do gray. I'll save that. And as you can see, all comments, you can see people can comment on things. You can say yes or no. I'm not requiring you to do that. I really just want you to make the Padlet for right now. And there's the link. So let's just go ahead and do it. All right, as you see, Cool. There's all types. It's just a blank slate. You hit plus. Start of row 4. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to label that. Oh, you know what? Let's do it right. 1914. Let's start of World War I. And I'm going to, let's see, upload a file, take a photo, attach a link. I like that idea. As you can see, there's all types of things here. You can actually do image search. Let me do that. Let me look. We'll do World War One. Actually, better yet, 1914. Then we'll get some World War One stuff. There's some stuff. So I'm just going to put that on there. You can do a little bit of comments if you want. Again, I just want 5 things on there, so you could just say the start of World War One, but the beginning war was weirdly and you publish, so it's there. Then I'll do another one. I'll throw, 19. That's the end. Let's do the Paris. I like that. Let's just do that again. You can fiddle around with whatever you want, but Paris. And what that you can do? Well, you can do you can do a YouTube video, do music, you can do the web. As you can see, let's do this. Let's do. I like that better. I don't care what you put on there, and we'll probably the Allies and superpowers. France. Put that, and of course you can move these. You can see, boom. There would be 5 there. This is the beginning at the end. That's all you need to do. And just to kind of give it a shout out, this is one that I think you can definitely have students do, especially if they have a Google account, if you wanted to make a timeline, because they're going to do the same thing that you're going to do. They're going to make a Padlet. You're going to hit share, and you can copy link to a clipboard and send it and submit it on Brightspace. You can get a QR code, like some of you have made already, and put that in there. I believe those are the 2 best ways that I would do. Is always you can do a PDF and save it if you'd like, or save it as an image. I just need to see that it's complete. Again, just like with everything else, but that's the Padlet. You do not have to do the Padlet and the Wakelet. You can choose one or the other. And I think basically, if I was going to give you advice, I use both. If you're looking for something maybe to organize yourself, maybe try Wakelet. If you're looking for something that you might be able to have your students do, I would go Padlet, because like I say, I've seen teachers utilize Wakelet a little bit and it's gotten better. I just think Padlet's more geared towards students being able to do stuff like this though. So if you're looking for something for yourself, awesome, Wakelet. Something for your students, Padlet. You're welcome to try both and submit both. It's up to you, but you only need to do one. I think that is it for this week. Let me look. I'll take the recording off. Forgive me on this. I haven't updated everything exactly yet. All right. So just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page this week. One, you have discussion 3, Tech Like a Pirate. That's the one where you'll have the apps and you have the choices. Blog. Some of you, by the way, just to kind of say this, some of you have been kind of talking about every tech that you've done. That's awesome. Actually, it helps me a lot. You don't have to do that though. If you want to just pick one and blog on one, that's fine. And like I say, just a couple of sentences. Formative assessment assignment. That's the Kahoot that I showed you. Or if you're more familiar, I know some of you have used like Gimkit, Quiz before. Those are fine too. I just want something that you can use and get kind of that instant spontaneous assessment. And I should add, with all of those, you can download reports on how your students have done as PDFs and the results and things like that. It's just, there's 3 little dots like this on the corner. And you just can download a PDF of how everyone's done and identify where maybe your weaknesses is and getting the information out to students has been or where they're struggling. That's the one tech you have to do. You need to choose between Wakelet and Padlet as far as a portfolio type activity. You need to make an infograph or a flyer in Canva. And again, submit the PDF or the link for all that applies. Your research paper, the directions are right here. But I don't know why it says, sorry, when it said June 10th, I think that was when I posted it up there. The research paper is due on the 23rd, but wink, wink, nod, nod. I will take to the 30th just because I know summer's pretty condensed. Can't take them after the 30th though. Make sure you read Tech Like a Pirate. Hopefully you're getting something out of that. I know when these videos I get so long-winded. I picked that book because one, we could do the discussions, but two, I think it's kind of practical and it has some cool stuff in it and it has links to like ditch my text. Is it ditch my textbook? If I can spit that out. In there, and that has a lot of cool resources too as regards to tech. And finally, this is not an assignment, but if you ever have free time, start fiddling around a little bit with recording yourself teaching. It's just a suggestion, and maybe editing. I believe Dr. Johnson is the expert, bar none, on this. But when you do your EdTPA, you have to submit, I believe, 2 clips and 1 long form of teaching. And they have to be, I think it's 2 10-minute clips and 1 20-minute clip. I might be off on this time, but I think that's right. They can't be over those times. So you want to get used to seeing yourself on film and teaching and all. You're kind of doing that with the Flipgrid and the editing with the Edpuzzle. So I'm comfortable with what we've done, but I still wanted to give that a little bit of a shout out. With that being said, I know that was a long-winded one, and I always say I'm going to try to do these in like 15 minutes, and I know I don't, but I guess I got to give it lip service anyway. With that being said, I hope everyone is having a good summer. Hope you're getting something out of the class. If you have any questions, again, please just email me or contact me. As you can see, I'm actually in my office right now, so I'm definitely floating around. And I hope you have a great week. And everyone's doing an awesome job, so thank you very much.